Like, we're sorry. Jack is an idiot.
No, Jack is our. We'd really struggle without Jack, actually.
Yes,
Thank you.
We would.
See, I
Yeah.
appreciate him.
Yeah, I know. I was midway through a sentence. You were all looking over there, and I didn't know what was going on. Right. Anyway, so Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak, directed by Guillermo del Toro, is a gothic romance. That's the way he sold it, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but I think a lot of people have made a lot about this. Like, it's not a horror film thing. I think you could justifiably sell it as a horror. There is enough. I've seen horror films with less horror than this film. So
there's a
that
bit
logic,
in it. There's a bit in it where they say, because she's Mia Wasikowska, the main character. She's writing a book
Yeah.
throughout the film, and people keep kind of having a go at her for having ghosts in her book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she says it's not a ghost story, it's just got ghosts in it. And that's kind of what this film is. It's not a ghost
Yeah,
story.
it
I wouldn't
really
really
did.
call it a horror film. It's just got bits of those
Okay,
elements.
But
in
my
it.
point is that I think if you wanted to see a horror film this Halloween, it is a
Fair
viable option.
In terms
It's-
of tone, definitely.
yeah, you could. It fits in with Halloween. If you go to see it as a horror film, you'll not get exactly what you're hoping for, but I don't think you'll necessarily be disappointed because the horror stuff happens. There's gore. That stuff is there. It might not be the implicit focus, but it is there definitely.
definitely
Like I said, I thought out of like the big horror films that people keep focusing on lately, I thought it was scarier than It Follows and The Babadook.
I agree with
Between
you.
I'd
the
say scarier than It Follows. I wouldn't say The Babadook. But
Well,
we had a
would-
whole other
yeah,
argument about this
I don't think
upstairs,
the Babadook is that scary. Whereas I wouldn't necessarily say this is that scary, but it creeped me out a couple of times. And the designs of all the creatures really good.
the ghosts are
Yeah,
very
the really
freaky.
sounds they make are creepy.
The sounds especially, actually.
And I think one of the things that really surprised me is the violence is genuinely quite like, whoa,
Oh, yeah,
where did
yeah,
that
it
come
did
from?
surprise me, yeah.
First scene of violence in this film is honestly one of the best scenes, I think, of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Just in terms of how it's shot, how the sound is, and just how out of nowhere it comes
It reminded
as
me.
well.
There's that bit in Pan's Labyrinth where the guy beats the person up with a
Yeah, that
bottle,
definitely reminded
and it
me
did
of that.
remind me
Yeah.
of that, and in
It's
a good
very
way.
shocking.
In a good way.
Because Guillermo del Toro, he has this very kind of fantastical sense to things, and he focuses heavily on details and stuff. And in the violence, that really plays
Yeah.
up, because you get everything from the gore to the kind of the sound of things, the bones cracking and stuff like that. But just it dials everything up to 11 completely.
Yeah.
It's
I mean-
definitely an aesthetic-driven film.
Oh,
I'd say.
It
Definitely.
looks beautiful. We were saying
Visually,
this before,
it's
like
amazing.
if Sicario is the thing that we want to win the score. I know I'm not speaking on
Oh,
your
yeah, yeah,
behalf,
yeah.
but like we did sort of say that, and we said that Macbeth is a good contender for cinematography. Then this is the one that should be there for production design, probably
And set
costume
design,
design,
yeah,
Costumes, yeah.
because it like they built that house and everything like that. You can tell it's been totally controlled, and like every aspect of it is there because it's exactly how it's supposed to be, not by accident or anything. It's a very controlled, very precise vision,
Yeah.
and you can
That's
tell it's a
good.
passion project as well.
That's Del Toro all over, to be honest. Isn't
Like
it?
I got the feeling that this is probably going to be one of those things where it's his favorite film of all of his films. It felt like the kind of thing where I bet he loves this more than we do.
I think he's already said that, actually.
Yeah,
I have a
I-
feeling he
I
said
definitely
that
felt
on
like
Twitter.
the directing, he definitely went a bit more old school with the directing. And
Yeah,
the
he's
editing
talking about
style.
like all those because it reminded me of. You guys have both seen Rebecca?
Yeah,
yeah,
It reminded me of Rebecca, but with incredible violence every so often.
like,
Yeah, it
a
reminded
much
me a
more
bit of
modern,
Rebecca. Yeah, I can get-
glitzy version.
but it has like a similar plot.
I guess so, yeah.
For one thing.
Yeah, true.
So like it had those kind of echoes of those sort of 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
psychological
exactly.
things,
Yeah, it definitely did. With
but
that.
with a modern. I won't say a modern twist, but with like a modern emphasis on violence and modern kind of techniques. Like the ghosts are sort of part CGI and things.
Because I kind of said to you when we got out, like I kind of described it as like a storybook film, which is what
Well, it starts with a book opening, doesn't it?
it starts with. Yeah, it starts with a book opening, like all the kind of. It's not Disney, obviously, but
No,
it's like that
it's like
classic
one of the
opening.
darker fairy tales.
And then it's
the
got all
original
those
fairy tales,
like panning transitions and like
Yeah.
fade-ins, fade-outs. It feels like it's
where
very
the
much.
where it kind of zooms in. On
Yeah,
the
it feels like it's very
yeah.
much structured like a kind of fairy tale and a story that you kind of tell to your kid, like a horror story that you tell to your kids. Like, well,
I get what you mean, definitely. Should we talk more critically? Because I know.
Yeah, well,
I mean-
obviously, I was saying back when you guys distracted me, I was saying this was my most anticipated film of the year back when we talked in
You're a
January.
Del Toro fanboy.
I am a Del Toro fanboy, and it's not my favorite film of the year, which doesn't necessarily mean intrinsically that it's a disappointment, but I do have reservations about it, which is fine.
You're
it's
allowed
not,
to.
Yeah, it's not meant to be perfect. Well, probably I never expected it to be perfect. And when I say that it's one of my least favorite Del Toro films, that's still better than a lot of films because I love his films. My main problem, we talked about this, was just some of the pacing, particularly in like
Definitely.
the middle. I just kind of felt like nothing's happening.
It feels like there needs to be another big kind of violent crashing moment in the middle somewhere.
But then when those moments come back, or when the ghosts
yeah.
show up, I kind of like instantly went, "I'm back. You've hooked me again." It was just occasionally. It could just be trimmed down a little. It's 2 hours, and I know
I
it's
don't
not
think it needs
massive
to be
long.
trimmed down. I think it just needs to have the middle bit tweaked.
yeah,
All right,
it needs.
yeah,
It doesn't
that's
need
fair,
less
yeah.
in it. It just needs more action rather than.
Or just a bit more ghost
And I
Yeah.
liked.
Yeah, that's what I think. Maybe less. I don't, because you were saying you wanted more.
of the
Violence.
violence. I don't
Violence,
think
yeah.
it needs more of the violence. Maybe more of the ghosts would be
More action in general, apparently. Because I really like the ending to this film, especially.
Yeah, the last
But
like
I
15 minutes.
feel like
is,
that could have
yeah.
been kind of pulled, like dragged out more into the middle.
I quite like
Like
how
could have been
succinct
more
it was.
build up to it because it feels like nothing really happens and then everything happens at once at the very end. Like, there's a lot of these
yeah,
sudden
right,
reveals.
I get what you
and
mean.
There's a lot of cutaways and then a lot of characters just suddenly come back and it's like you could have pulled this out a little bit more considering how little happens in the middle.
Okay, I understand. I'm not sure if I agree, but I get where you're coming from at least.
The only thing I want to say is
Oh,
Oh no, not this again. Stop beating this horse.
I'm not beating a horse.
You are.
I'm just saying Charlie Hunnam shouldn't be allowed to act.
Wow.
He's really not very good. I don't get why Guillermo del Toro, of all people as well, who attracts people like Tom Hiddleston and Mia Wasikowska and Jessica Chastain, really, really great actors who are really great in this film, and he decides to throw Charlie Hunnam back
he's a
into the
blank
mix.
slate. You can put whatever you want on it.
He's not really, and
He's
his
like
character is
he's
quite
like the-
significant.
He's like the point of entry for the audience.
Yeah,
'cause
he's,
he's like one of those characters in video games that doesn't say anything or
He's-
have a personality.
He's
That's
Nick
the problem, he
Calloway
doesn't-
from Great
He
Gatsby.
doesn't have a personality at all. He's just one of the blandest people, and he's really, really annoying.
How can he be bland and annoying?
Well, I really
Aren't they
don't.
mutually exclusive
No,
concepts?
to me, bland is because I don't like people that have no kind of like actors specifically, and films as well, where they don't have like. I don't mind if they make me really angry, and I don't mind if they make me really happy. I just don't want to feel nothing. I want to feel something. We've talked about this before. Why are you acting so
it's just-
surprised?
it's just funny the way you
having
word
an
it.
existential crisis on air
It's all
because
true.
of Charlie Hunnam.
Right, should we
Okay,
do
yeah,
ratings?
Yeah, yeah.
Ratings.
Harrison, do you want to start?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we talked about this when we left, and I said an 8.
Yeah.
And I did say at the time, I'm going with an 8 because I'm a bit of a fanboy. But now I think I'm just going with an 8 because it deserves an 8,
Yeah.
rather than because I'm a fanboy. I love how it looks. There are moments that I really, really like, and I don't feel like any of it is bad. It's just moments that are a little slow. So I think I'm more positive about it than I sound, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I wanted it to be the best thing ever, but I genuinely really, really do like it. It's just, I feel like I could have loved it.
I'd say pretty much the same as Harrison, actually. I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10, which is
Wow.
really quite high for me, yeah.
For
which-
our
when I got-
radio listeners, Jack usually always goes with a 6. A 6 is basically just Jack's
Standard,
thing.
yeah, but-
it's the Jack standard.
when I got out of it, I thought I liked it more than Harrison for a bit. That was
Wow.
really surprised me. But
Yeah,
no,
I
I'd
think
say we're
it's,
kinda
I
equal
think
now.
it's, I had the higher expectations, so we
Yeah,
sort
yeah, and
of
also
like-
you've seen all his past films, and like you said, it seems like it's
Is it-
essentially Americanized Devil's Backbone. Is
yeah,
how
there's
you've described
so
it.
many comparisons.
And
between the
since
Devil's
I haven't
Backbone
seen
and
that, I suppose I have a bit more of a shock value.
this. Yeah, but it's still 8 out of 10 from me too.
I'm going to go with a 7.
Really?
I'm being the more critical of the like.
Whoa.
Some of that is because of my unparalleled hatred for Charlie Hunnam.
How much is
But-
some?
Well, no, I just thought I wouldn't mind if he had just been a throwaway character that just showed up a few times, but the fact that he does have quite a major impact on the plot by the end, I was just a bit confused as to why he was there and why. And I do genuinely, Charlie Hunnam aside, think that some of the plotting is very jumbled, especially towards the end when it does feel like they rush a lot of it, because there are some quite significant reveals at the end that just kind of come out of nowhere almost.
Do you think I thought they were quite heavily telegraphed?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I thought they were.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention
Maybe
to the
you're
right
just
parts.
stupid.
Maybe I am just stupid. But and that aside, though, I
You
did
didn't
really.
appreciate the IMAX experience.
Sorry, an IMAX.
No, that's what I'm saying. You didn't appreciate that.
I do, but visually,
You compromised.
kind of visually, it's one of the most amazing visual films of the year, I think. And sound design wise, it's incredible. acting,
Technically, it's
most of the acting I have no problem with. Technically, yeah, I think it's just, and a lot of the time I feel like it could have been better in places.
I agree with that.
But right,
Cool.
so yeah, that was our first
well, we
radio
finished up.
live review, Crimson
Yeah.
Peak. I was quite impressed with us for that.
Oh, yeah. I was quite impressed with myself. I thought it
Not
was
myself, because apparently I'm just stupid.
That was like you had a proper 3-minute rant about Charlie.
That wasn't 3 minutes. Was that 3 minutes?
It was
I
like
don't know,
2
long.
minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Next up is
We're going to return back to the theme.
we're going to
now.
return back to the Future soundtrack.
Oh.
And this is Marvin Berry and the Starlighters with Earth Angel.